Next slide, please.
Yep.
Well, my motivation for this project basically is the fact that, in Africa, there's a lot of corruption. So there's fewer transparency, especially when it's come to infrastructure. Basically, we lose about $148 billion to corruption each year in Africa, and half of corruption cases are related to infrastructure. So I thought that blockchain technology, because of increased transparency, especially when it comes to transaction happening, can help in the fight against corruption and also service delivery in Africa. Next slide, please. Like I said earlier, the aim of this basically platform that we want to develop, or I want to develop, is that we can have a blockchain platform for the purchase and sale of land property in Africa. As you know, this will help a great deal, in terms of also having access to bank credit, because one of most of bank will give you credit because of a collateral, and the collateral they're usually looking at is the land that they deal. And in Africa, you have a lot of fake ones. So having this kind of platform where it's built on blockchain, where you cannot modify transaction once it's done, will also help in transparency and guarantee the authenticity of the owner of the property, so that it can be easy, to have access to bank loan, maybe to scale up your business. Next slide, please. Our progress so far, basically, we have created, I've created a block, 3 classes, basically, where you're at now: a block class, a blockchain class, and a transaction. Of course, after importing the necessary stuff. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Basically, the first class that we have created is the block. As you know, when it's come to blockchain, a block is comprised first of the transaction, then a unique identifier to the block, so that, each block has a unique ID. Of course, that was made possible using SHA-256 that we have imported earlier on. And next, after the transaction and its unique identifier, there also within a block, there is the unique identifier of the previous block, which is also important. And also, there's a validation procedure. In this case, is the land title deed unique reference. If it's available and valid, then the block is a valid block. And then, of course, like I said earlier on, there's a transaction, unique identifier of the block, and a validation, proof of validation. Next slide, please. Then we have now the blockchain class, which is where we're really going at. Now, in this, we have the chain, blockchain. So if block will attach to a chain or to the chain, if it's valid, and then it will move from pending block to the chain, get attached to the chain. And of course, we also have a new transaction property. Like you will see in the blockchain, you have the chain where the block gets attached to when it's valid. You have to validate also the block. The validation procedure basically is to make sure that the unique identifier for the land title deed is valid. If yes, we can go ahead with attaching the block to the chain. If not, it will stay within the pending block. I want to be get attached to the chain. Next slide, please. And lastly, like I said earlier on, we have the transaction class. Basically, as you will expect for this kind of blockchain, you have within the transaction, the seller, the buyer, the amount of the transaction, the property type, whether it's a land or a house, for example. You have the geographical location of the property. This is also important, so that each property ideally will be unique, because there will only be one unique location for each property. And then you have the land title deed unique identifier. Next slide, please. Okay, basically this is the output that you get when you run the program. David, if you can help with running that program that I've sent. for those who watching so that they can see a demonstration of it.
Sure. Let me pull that up.
So basically, in this last slide, I want to talk about what I've learned beyond the class lecture. Definitely, I've learned some stuff like some new way of writing a code in Python, but the most important thing I've learned is definitely the graph database, about graph database, which thing I didn't know before. I also learned about the different type of graph database and also Neo4j that I'm currently learning because I'll be using it to create a database for this platform. The main challenges I'm facing now is to find the suitable partners. I managed to find some partner, but not those with the necessary skills, competencies, and that I'm looking for, because I'm looking for somebody who definitely master Python and also graph database and Neo4j. Ideally have a computer science background. So I'm busy looking for partners with whom we can partner, ideally 3 plus me 4, to kind of move this project commercial. Already, I'm in discussion with a student, master student, computer science, master student currently in Sweden. She is currently busy with her exam, I think, and later on she'll let me know if she intend or would like to join me in this project. So thank you very much for listening.
Awesome, and I will share that. Yeah, like excellent work, Hugue. Let me just get this pulled up in PyCharm. Right.
So for those watching, so if you run the program, basically you will get the output that I show in the presentation. So you will see basically the transaction, seller, buyer, the amount of the transaction, the property type, the physical geographical location of the property, and the line data unique identifier with the information that will be printing on every node on the network. Thank you so much for listening.
Awesome.
That's it with my presentation.
Great. Thank you, Hugue.
Thank you, David.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Huge, for your wonderful presentation. That's great. Great job you have done there. I want to, okay. All right, I can see. Okay, this is my final project presentation. It's centered on developing a predictive model. I'm sorry I didn't put the title. Developing a predictive model for predicting the compressive strength of lateritic soil stabilized with bone ash and palm bunch ash. Next slide, please. This is the outline for my presentation. See, from introduction down to the challenges. Next slide, please. Introduction, in a way of introducing what I actually want to do, what I've already started doing and hope to complete it before the year runs out, is I've looked out over the years. You see that Python programming have really find application in diverse sectors. Really find application like in civil engineering. People have applied Python programming in health sector, technological sector, in business sector, and educational sector. But however, you find out that till date, in the field of civil engineering, rarely will you see where Python programming has been used for predicting the strength of building materials. So that's the essence of me, trying to go on this project. Next slide. And also one of the basic need that why in civil engineering we actually need a model to work with is because we spend a lot of time in the laboratory trying to run experiments. So it consumes a lot of time and even resources. You spend money to pay for lab tests, and you spend money to buy materials to perform the test, and also on labor too. And And all these texts, they are very necessary for us to know the strength of material, so to prevent failure of infrastructural projects. But recently, we found out that we can't continue, spending money on laboratory tests. That's why emphasis is now geared more on developing predictive models that will be able to help us save time and save resources. And this predictive model now, as once developed now, will not go back to doing the experiment. You just have to put in your data and you run the model and you see what you need, the parameters you need to work with in your infrastructure you want to put up. And this will go a long way in saving our time and energy and resources. Hence, the use of Python programming to predict the compressive strength of agro-waste stabilized bricks for sustainable building will be what I've been exploring in this project, and will actually continue to explore until I find a complete model, a good model that will be able to predict the strength, let's say like up to 90-something%. Next slide. So the aim of my project is to use Python programming to predict the compressive strength of agro waste stabilized bricks for sustainable building. Next. Looking at the attached snapshot, you see that these data that have been printed, these are the data I got from my experimental results. And you can see it's just some aspect of the data to tell you how it is, how enormous the work is to conduct experiment for you to acquire data. So these data have been able to use pandas. I make use of pandas package then to create this data, impute this data into Python. And this data, I'm going to be using it for for creating the models that will be able to be used in predicting the strength of my material. Next, please. Then these are also part of the things I've achieved in the project so far. I've been able to use pandas to be able to manipulate my data, the display of my data. What did I actually want to display? Like you can see, this one on the screen right now, different rows by different columns. In the first snapshot and the second snapshot, different rows by different rows. Different rows by different columns. This is a way of trying to manipulate my data visualization, the way my data appear, my data presentation using pandas. Next, please. Then I've tried, though this one, actually I'm yet to resolve some issue with it, which I've sent to Mr. David, and I know he will assist me, guide me through to resolve some issue with the graph. I've already started learning how to plot graph. The first one I did was like kind of, it was taking values that I didn't actually know where it was coming from. But I kept trying and trying over. I was able to produce this graph. I was able to label the x-axis and the y-axis of the graph. So this is what the level I am now on plotting graphs with Python. So next, please, next. Okay, this one is just a representative of some of the codes that I've used, even in the production of even in the development of the tables that I've displayed earlier and the graph you've seen earlier. These are some of the codes that I've used during the practice. Next. Then these are the selected takeaway from the course. I just selected a few of the takeaway I got from the course. From the course, I was able to learn from Mr. David how to create an activity suggestion app. Kind of, if I have an activity to go by the month, what will happen or activity suggestion app of an industry. I can have, for instance, I have an industry or a company, and I want to create an app such that the workers in the company will know what to do when whatever happens. Using these codes that I learned from Mr. David, I will be able to create such app such that I will be able to create such code such that when anything happens, the workers will know what to do next. And when another one happens, they will know what to do next, instead of making calls and reaching out to someone and maybe the person will not be available and something might go bad. So these are one of the things I learned from the course. Next, please. So again, I also learned to be able to create searchable address book. For instance, if in future, if I want to run a business and I actually need to keep record of my customers in order to reach back at them, if I'm not seeing their patronage, in order to get back to them. So I will be able to use this knowledge from what I learned from the class to be able to create such an address book that will be able to capture their details, such that whenever I look and I didn't see them patronizing, I can just type in their name, pull out their information, then give them a call or email them to find out why they haven't been patronizing. So this will be of huge importance to me in the future by the time I begin to develop my business in future. Next, please. Then again, this is also part of what I learned from the course. One part of the selections that I learned how to assess and manipulate the content of file and folders. You can see the snapshot of what we did in the class. Then please, next slide, please. Then for the project I did, I just chose this one of the things that I actually explored while I was in the project. I bumped into it and I tried to explore it and it worked out. I was able to learn how to install and use Spider to run Python codes for numerical calculation. I installed it, I tried it, I gave it a try, it worked. And this based on what I learned from the class, that also helped me to be able to go further to be able to use this one. Next, please. Then my plans for the next step of the project, indeed, I have not gone as much as what I would have loved to have gone far in this project, but I believe I cannot give up. I'm not the type that give up. I will continue. Despite the challenges I'm facing, I will still continue to make sure that I bring the project to completion. So one of my plans is that I plan to use different packages or modules for building predicting models. I want to use them to also to explore, to build models, then explore and see how they works on. And one of some of the packages that I want to explore include start models, and that one I'll use the start model for linear regression. Then for Skylearn, I will use that one for multiple regression. Then I will use Plotly to also visualize my plot, to get different visualization of my plots that I will be having doing the prediction of my models. Then I will also use non-phi and sci-fi models for any numerical calculation that I would like to do in the course of building my models. Then at the end of the day, the models that I come up with, I have to also compare them, then to know the one that gave me the best predictive model, the one that predicted this trend better than the other, either by the use of R squared or by whatever, as I progress, whatever parameter that I will be getting, I will be encountering, that I will use to compare the models to know the best model for my project. Then finally, which is even the ultimate of this project, is to have a good publication, to publish in a good journal. The findings of this project will be published in a good journal by God's grace. Then at the end of the day, by the time I've done my publication, I would like to explore the use of Jupyter Notebook as well, to see how it works. Next, please. Then the challenges are, one of the challenges I had was poor internet connection. But the worst, the one that really gave me tough time was the issue of electricity to power my laptop. You imagine, even when I run the gem, most times we use the gem for other things, for like pumping of our water that we're going to use, you know. At the time, by the time I will be work with my laptop and it will go down, and being a learner, I'm still learning, I don't have high speed in working on this Python or working on the Python project. So light power has been the issue. Whenever I want to work, we won't see power. But the way I try to overcome is by use of generator, and the noise of generator will even make me lose more concentration, a lot of things. But what can we do? I thank God that I didn't pull out, and I believe God that I will complete the project. In fact, the project will come to an end successfully, and all my targets will be achieved by God's grace. Then another challenge I have is time. I'm managing my time with my work, with my family, and I have a baby at hand. My baby is 7 months already now, so it has been like, it was 1 month, about 2 months when I started this program. And I want to thank God I didn't give up, because a lot of things came up that would have meant, children need attention most of the time, and I'm coupling it with my work. It was really a Herculean task, but it's worth it, because at least I can see that the end will be glorious. I will be able to come up with good results by God's grace. By the time I get my model in place and have a good publication, whenever I look back, I will remember, indeed, this time I really paid off for me. Thank you. Next slide. I believe this is the next slide. Appreciation. I want to really sincerely appreciate Public Policy in Africa Initiative for this great opportunity. Also want to apologize that I did not use the opportunity the way I should have loved to use the opportunity very well. I was supposed to have invested more of my time in it, but I didn't. I want to apologize on my part. I didn't play the role I needed personally on it. I know Public Policy in Africa Initiative have the best interest at heart to develop me. But I'm feeling guilty somehow because I could not pull through. I could not pass all the, how would I put it? I did not, some of the assignments, I was not able to come out successfully with the results. But in all things, I thank God. I thank God I'm part of this initiative. And I also want to thank God that my friend that I recommended the course, she applied, she told me, she emailed me that she got it, that she's going to be starting it in June. And she's very enthusiastic. She's also, I know she'll be able to make it better, because very soon she'll be moving to US, and when she moves to US, she will have a constant light. So she won't have the challenges I have, and she'll be able to benefit a lot from the course. Then I also want to thank our tutor, the best tutor in the whole world. You have done well. You have our time, you listen to our ignorance, even my ignorance questions at times, you listen to them and you attend to them, and you brought out your time to answer to all our emails. I want to appreciate you, Mr. David, you've done so well. Thank you very much for that. Then I also want to appreciate Hugue, who has been the one. When I look at you, I say, hey, I cannot give up. Hugue has done a lot. I can't give up. I can never give up. Hugue is in this class and he's still, upon all the things he's doing, I can't give up. You have been also a source of motivation to me, Hugue. Then I also want to thank my family for bearing with me. Most times when I am in the class, my child will cry. I have to hand my baby to my daughter. I ask her, please help me take care of him. She will carry her and be dancing around. I want to appreciate her. She has been of good assistance to me. I also want to appreciate everyone in my family that understands, even when I made them, I keep awake in the night and disturb them by my movement while they're sleeping. They still do not bother to, quarrel. I want to appreciate everyone in this team. I say, may Public Policy in Africa Initiative continues to strive, work stronger and stronger, and then continue to bring all these good initiative to Africa, which will help to develop the teaming youth. And I believe by God's grace, even though I didn't gain as much I would have gained, I didn't participate fully as I would have loved to participate. I know that some people with this course, they've already gotten employment with this course. In fact, they've developed themselves in such a way that this course will be their employment opportunity. Maybe they will be able to be self-employed using Python programming, because I can see online, you see people looking for Python programmers. And assuming I've developed myself the way I would have loved to be expert, and I know this is really a huge impact on the part of, on my part. I didn't play my part very well. I'm still apologizing for that, but I thank God for African PPiAI, because they've done well to us, and I thank God for our tutor, Mr. David. He has done well, and Hugue too. I want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ify. Great presentation. Excellent work on your project. Yeah, I know. You were saying that you weren't able to get exactly where you wanted to get with everything, but you got a lot more out of the course than most people that had tried to participate in this course. And you made it through to the very end, and I want to congratulate both of you, Hugue and Ifey, on completing the course in its entirety. You did excellent work. I know it was challenging,